What is up, guys? It's Lucas Da Silva back here again with another Elite Eight coach interview. And this one, for me, is a special one. And to speak candidly, one of my favorite coaches I've had the absolute pleasure of meeting through Elite Eight. It is Coach Urenda with the reigning and defending champions, POWA. Coach Urenda, thank you for taking the time to hop on the phone with me. How are we doing today?
Awesome. Can't wait for this interview. And I think you do a good job. You like the hype guy, the Elite Eight duels. If anybody actually watches, you're always in the big time duels, and your energy is contagious because you know the moment. You know these are like the Super 32 of the duels. These matter. You know what's at stake, and you're coach or you're not coaching. You're commentating some guys that are going to be D1 champs. You know what I mean? So you do an amazing job with the energy, atmosphere, and stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, especially coming from one of these coaches that, you've been to Elite Eight every year and you go to a lot of these high level events. So I very much appreciate that. But why don't you for a minute, because a lot of these people are going to know who I am. They might not be as familiar with you. Talk about you and POWA as a whole and what this team is to you.
Yeah, we started the dual team probably about 7-8 years ago with Daniel Cardina. He wrestles at Stanford now, but his dad and him started the dual team, and then ever since then it just blew up. And yeah, we're for the youth, middle school, and elementary. The last probably 4 years we've been on top, so or in the mix at least, very near the top. So it's been a good run.
It has, and you mentioned it in passing, and then you corrected yourself, I guess. But let's call it what it is. We are going into Atlanta next weekend. You guys are the top of the pile. You are defending the robes. And a team that's super unique in terms of you have the Colorado flavor, but guys like Sebastian DeJaneiro, Drew Gorman, this year some Georgia flavor in late editions of Ronin On and Ryder Wilder. Talk about coming into this year, the team is very different. Lots of turnover. What is the expectation, I would imagine, to defend these titles? And how do you think this team looks poised to do that you and the staff have put together?
Yeah, the expectation is always to win it or be in the mix. But yeah, I think last year's team we had a lot of kids that Cepeda, Moses Mendoza. Like, okay, we're gonna get bonus points there. I think this team is more piss and vinegar. It's gonna win a lot of close matches. I don't see us giving up too many bonus points, but I think we're gonna. I think on paper we're probably preceded 4 or 5, but I really like this team because we have a lot of people that like a Brandon Burkerton. He's in and out of the rankings, but at 116 he's going to do really well. Aiden Carver, I think on paper he's probably only not favored besides Bassett. So personally, I know this team and I really like it because I think it's going to give. I think top to bottom, we're really, really solid.
Yeah, and I'll admit, we obviously, the media, we get the rosters before everyone else. There was a point looking at the rosters, there were some holes, there were just not non-guys filled in, and I was super curious to get your take on, some late additions. What was that? Was there any, I guess, anxiety so close to the date of last minute changes, bringing guys in? Because I'll say this, looking at your roster top to bottom, that you don't really have a weak point, and it was really cool to see so late in the process that, as always, POWA's coming ready to play and ready to be a factor.
Yeah, I think for this event, you're not really worried about finding a late minute addition because kids are dying to be at this event. You know what I mean? So it's not like a regular like an event. This is like I keep going back to Super 32 at duels. So we always had some options, but I think with the team we settled in with, like I said, on paper we're probably the 4 seed, but paper don't win championships. So I'm really happy with the team, and I think this team's really gonna surprise some people.
Of course, for those that might not know, you look top to bottom on this roster. You got a Cooper deputy, you got Bickerton, you got the bigger deputy, you got Case Bell, who's been a guy for you year in year out. Carson Brown, Cassiope, and down the way you hit a guy like a Gage Wenzel, then the number 2 ranked in the country, Ryder Wilder, Ronan On, who's ranked number 8. You've put together an incredible team. What is it like for you guys being based out of Colorado, but pulling all these national level guys? It creates a really unique atmosphere. What is that like for you as a coach to be dealing with so many different styles and personalities just because your team is from around the country?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say I think 9 of these kids wrestled with us on the youth. Like Cooper Deputy's been with us 7 years. Asher Bacon's been with us for 7 years. Grayson Egan's been with us for 4 years, 5 years. A lot of the who else? Bickerton, Dom Deputy. A lot of the
Cassiope's been with you
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah. So a lot of these kids wrestled with us in the youth and middle school. So, you know what I mean. A couple of these, like Carson Brown and the Georgia boys, you know what I mean? They're their first time, but you know what you're gonna get. They're hammers. So a lot of these kids have wrestled with us. So it's you know what I mean. We know their style. We know what they're about and stuff. So it's pretty easy transition.
So let me ask you this. You are one of the original teams. You've been to every Elite Eight. And I'll admit, as a commentator, but as well as a fan of the sport, it was really cool last year to see you guys finally get over the hump. Wins over Dynasty and Beast, teams that you hadn't necessarily been able to have uh, consistent success against. Is there any teams that maybe you look at the roster, you just see the name and the coaching staff, and you're like, you know what? We love running heads up with these guys. Are there any duels you're specifically looking for?
As a competitor standpoint, I think it's Dynasty because it's a friendly rivalry, but they're like the people's champ. Everybody always picks Dynasty to win and this and that. But we've been battling them with the youth, and then the last few years at Elite Eight. So I mean, they got the star power, the name power, but it's always awesome because you're gonna get two talented teams, and they want it, we want it. So it's a great atmosphere, great energy and stuff. Great matches, duels. Usually, it always comes down to the last couple of matches.
Yeah, of course. And even last year, the duel in the finals last year was weird, and I want to get your take on this. Down a man in the finals, there was a lot of questions of lineups and who was going to wrestle, who wasn't, and you get the job done. What was that like for you as a coach in a situation where you're in my opinion, the deepest tournament in the country year in and year out? You're looking for your first team championship, and you get it done. You get over the hump. What was that like in that situation to get it done?
I think kids just wrestled their potential, and I think I think getting there again because we got there 2 years ago, and I think you know what I mean. We had 3 forfeits, and obviously they had Bassett for us, so who knows how it would have worked out. But we ended up losing the year before. But like I think it came down to the last match. You know what I mean? But we had Gorman.
Yeah, it
forfeit.
was a very close duel to
Yeah,
the finish. I
yeah.
remember that. One of
Yeah,
my favorite duels. One of my favorite duels in Elite Eight history. Because, like you said, you guys are down 3 men, and we're going into 2:15, and y'all are clawing back, notching win after win. It was an absolute classic.
Yeah, that was a fun duel. But I think last year we top to bottom, it was just everybody knew their role, and we had a Daniel Cepeda, bonus points. We had the list goes on, it was just I think the goal was to win it, and I think they did everything the right way to win it.
That makes sense. I mean, and I think that's a testament to not only you, but the buy-in of the staff and the guys at every weight just doing your job. Speaking of that, I want to talk about these kids for a minute. As always, you've put together an incredible group top to bottom. But a lot of these kids have numbers by their name. In fact, this is a tough question to ask because there's very few that aren't, coming in with a ranking. Is there a guy you look at on your team who maybe even he's ranked low on the rankings, but in your brain, he might not be a nationally known commodity, but leaving Elite Eight this week or this upcoming weekend, you think he's going to get some NIL money out of this and he's going to get some college coaches asking about him by the end of the weekend, if they're not already there?
I think we have about 3X factors. If they have monster weekends, I think we're gonna have a monster weekend. Brandon Bickerton, he hasn't wrestled for a while, but he's been training. He's been in and out of the rankings, but I think at 116 he's gonna have a monster weekend. I think Grayson Egum, at 150 he's been in and out of the rankings, but I think he's gonna be a well-known name. I think that weight's perfect for him. And then we got a freshman, Asher Bacon, that some people already heard of him, but I think he's gonna do phenomenal things even as a freshman.
I was going to say, Asher's one that I've heard the name of. Obviously, he's ranked number 16 in the country at 157 pounds. Dude is a stud. I'll ask you one last question, because I was talking to a lot of coaches earlier in the week, and as the fans will see, these videos are coming out, and they struggle to pick their best guy, and sometimes that's not really what I want. Do you have a guy that all right, hey, maybe a duel's not going our way, something's going, and I need a guy who's going to be my dog to go change the momentum? Who would that guy be for you? Because I look at your team, and it's funny to say this because the eyes might go to Ronan and Ryder, who are ranked so highly, but for me, it's that junkyard dog of Rocco Cassiope to me, because that dude is tough as nails.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Cooper Deppard, he's a freshman, but he's been our leader. You know what I mean? The middle school, the youth. You know what I mean? He's a little guy, but people feed off his energy, and he's a coach's son. So he's a bona fide leader. He does everything the right way. And then Rocco Cassiope, he's been with us forever, but he's like you just said, a bona fide dog. Like he could go. You know what I mean? Like he beat Landon Dunn last year. You know what I mean? Like Cassiope's a straight dog, and he has great energy. The dad, you know what I mean? It just those two guys are really, really great leaders, and just they know how to bring it, like what you were asking.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you for taking this time to chat with me. It's always great. I will be very candid with the audience. I can always know when Elite Eight's coming around because all of a sudden I get the text message from Coach Urenda and it'll be a month out. Like we won't even see not nary a post from Cliff or nobody yet, but Urenda's on my ass about, so what do you know? What are you thinking? Who do you like? When are we going to talk about it? So it's always fun to get on the horn with you, sir. I'm super excited to see you, obviously, this weekend. Any parting shots for the fans at home?
No, we're just thanks to Cliff, Shane Chittum. Like I said, this is probably the third time I said it, but this is the Super 32 duels, and it's something special. And thanks to you and the commentary, you do an amazing job. I think people sleep on you, but I think you do a great job, and just can't wait. Saturday morning, it gets real.
Yes, sir. All right, sir. I will see you there this weekend. Thank you.
All right, see ya.